Introducing the 3-part options course with Hans Albrecht. Get access for free by scanning this QR code or clicking on the link in the description.
So I did an update. Of course, MSTR is spiking higher, and Hood and Coin, OMG. Mara hasn't really gotten going, which is like, huh? So it is $23 right now, but that's because I think for the most part, MSTR came in, bought a whole bunch, and this is the key level. Remember I said this kind of 22. If we can get above 23.35, this thing is going to be a rocket. So they have earnings tomorrow. That could be good or bad. Just kind of keep that in mind. I don't have a lot of edge, but I did post again an update. Bitcoin, of course, is moving higher. Trump has ignited a major Bitcoin crypto rally. Mara right now is really critical above that 23 level I just showed you on a weekly, but earnings tomorrow. By the way, their holdings, Ryan tells me, are worth 2.2 billion. And they have a market cap of 5.7 billion and with a short interest of 30%. So this, it should be good, but I have no edge. Odds are growing. But I also just want to remind everyone, if we do get a parabola, and to qualify, we have to get a rate of change above 6,015 that starts marching higher, kind of like Bitcoin right now is in a parabola above key levels. This could double, just like Tesla. Like I said in Tesla, if Tesla can get and stay above 237, it could double in time. I've shown you these examples before, these patterns before, and Bitcoin, same thing. This could be pushing up into the 135 area. So I just, I've talked about this. It looks very much like it wants to do that. So the market is still bullish. Bitcoin is the proxy for liquidity and for speculation and for Trump presidency and all the proxies therein. And Mara is is right into that little triangle. So frustrating. All right, but it is working. So it's leading pretty well this morning, but then they all are. So these are the proxies, capital markets, right, that are kind of very, very elevated here on Bitcoin. Besides Tesla being an unmitigated parabola, I mentioned, I know it didn't deliver post earnings on Square, but I said I wasn't worried about it. I really, really, really wasn't. And on Friday, it not only came back down to support, which was basically the 70, but it traded up. And so a 4% loss turned into a 0.4% loss. I just wasn't worried about it. I just think this can do a shake and bake a lot to get out and above this resistance level of the 100 week. So Square is doing really well. Whether you did it before earnings or you got it post earnings a little bit cheaper, to me, it just looked like it was going to have a really good time staying above monthly, which is at 70, staying above all the moving averages of size and the Bollinger Band and the 10-week and weekly support. And it just looked like this was going to happen. So this is happening. But now keep it above. For those who are at all interested, even in the start, let me just show you that this is something that I think, see this? This is what I'm looking for. So this hasn't even triggered yet. There's still time. So you didn't have to get in before earnings. You didn't have to get in on Friday. This is still working, my humble opinion. All right, so Square is still a bet for higher. Yes, it has some Bitcoin on its balance sheet, which is probably helping, but also their earnings were not bad. Like I looked at them, I'm like, hey, that's pretty good. It should do well. It didn't do well. Their market reaction was pathetic, but look at it, popped up like a daisy. So Square looks really primed. Why I'm always looking for the next, right? We had Bitcoin first and MSTR. That was insane. Came all the way back up and just kept going. And Coin just kept going. These are parabolas now. These are no question ridiculous. Mara hasn't triggered yet, and maybe it won't with earnings. That's the risk. So Square is definitely a big winner this morning, if nothing else, because it sold off on earnings and got completely defended, and now it's moving into an area of what I think could be a very nice breakout. Mara is another winner this morning that is recommended because I think it has not participated in this Bitcoin rally, and it now looks and feels a lot better. PayPal, this is also a really nice one. I was not worried about earnings. Another one of those. It's too strong on a weekly. It's just done its work to get out. So it came down to literally 3 levels of support. I said, I'm not worried about this one, and it's moving higher into 88 next. So PayPal's doing fine. That Bitcoin is so bullish right now, so bullish that this huge breakout, and I know I've shown it, these huge consolidated wedges or trend line, forget the bottom one, and it doesn't matter the angle, but the point is the longer this goes sideways, the more energy it picks up to break out. So that's why I say it's if then, it's a double. So if it gets above this green line, which it did, and then it came back and tested, that was really the level. You can call it 65,000. I called it 67.5. You know, this was just definitely the neck of the woods. Let's call it 65. Doesn't matter. The point is, if it gets and stays above, it can double. So we're talking some height, 130, 135. These are the reason I believe that the market will get still excited about NVIDIA. It's liquidity tell. It'll still get excited about everything that has Bitcoin on the balance sheet, PayPal, Square, Tesla, what have you. I just don't think this is a shortable time frame right now for NVIDIA or for Bitcoin. Does it mean we can, you know, come back a little bit and then move higher? Absolutely. We probably need to. And it wouldn't surprise me if it would come all the way back down to 75,000. But I definitely don't see a reversal yet. I don't see any momentum change. The ETF flows have been stupid bullish. Remember this kind of advance? Look at this. This went from 38 to 74 roughly, and then it went sideways. So space is pretty darn bullish. Everyone, of course, is talking Bitcoin, and they're also relaying this exuberance by example. The Bitcoin ETF is now larger than the silver ETF. You've probably seen that going around. And the Doge, you know, forget about it. Don't even get me started. But the point is, silver is a very small asset. It will grow, right? I still have this very strong thesis that if then it will come out of this wedge. If it stays above that 65, 67.5, it can double. Just like the VRNA, same thing. If it gets here, looks just like the Bitcoin wedge, right? If then, it'll double, and it has, or RNA, or I can show you a whole bunch that basically had the same structure. So it is a textbook move. It does represent liquidity in the system. There are lots of macro bets. For some, it's a religion. That's not me. I'm looking at this as a textbook breakout of a wedge. If it stays above 65,000, it will go up to basically twice that, 130,000. If it is easier for you, take some zeros off. Kind of like instead of 86,000, just say it's 86. It sometimes it's a little bit like, woo. Like with penny stocks, I always have to be warning you. It's not $3, it's really 30 cents because they've done so many stock splits. Anyway, long story short, we have talked about this, and I even wrote a few weeks ago. Now everyone sees the Bitcoin rally, and now everyone is now comparing it to other asset classes for their own personal agenda. All I'm going to say is it's very bullish. For reasons of liquidity, for reasons of momentum, for reasons of technical breakout, I am very bullish. Mara has earnings, so we'll have to kind of spy that reaction. But for the most part, just kind of keep it in play. Most breakouts like this on a textbook basis, I'm talking technical analysis, they take a while, right? Like I just showed you those two examples that have nothing to do with Bitcoin. When VRNA, I said at 15, if then, it'll double. They take a while. They take several weeks to several months. This is not something that should go in a straight line. Bitcoin's going in a straight line. So you know what happens in a straight line. We all become parabola traders now, and that's exactly what I wrote about this morning. So you have got a situation where we are all parabola traders now. And that means it's going to be trapped longs at some point. That can trigger volatility and liquidation events. You've seen it with, you know, aggressive biotechs. You have seen it with many different markets, especially pump and dump. And I really think we'll be talking about this after next year as a very viable short. But in the meantime, you can see the irrational behavior that happened with MSTR, leading, followed by Hood, Coin, and then Mara. Mara did take off yesterday in a really dramatic fashion. We talked about that. It was up 25%, and it's kind of above its skis here, but that is also a very bullish breakout. Look at that gorgeous gap above all the moving averages that matter. Even yesterday, I said, okay, I already knew that this was coming. Earnings, I have no edge, but the fact that it could pop above and sit above this 22 so beautifully, now above the Bollinger Bands, above this kind of cross. Point is, it was not just a chase yesterday at the open. That was not the point. This was something I recommended several weeks ago, expecting a Bitcoin rally because of that wedge breakout. And then you could see what was happening with the market. Crazy bullish.
Join Club to trade with Samantha. Scan this QR code or click the link in the description. Subscribe to LaDuc Trading YouTube channel for more live trading room recap videos and other content.